Hello, everybody. I'm David, and I'm a TI, and I'm here with Courtney. She's a TI. She's been a TI for 14 years, and she's going to do an interview today. Courtney, we really appreciate you doing an interview. I'm trying to show people that non-believers and people who know what's going on, how extensive this program is by interviewing people and stuff. And I've even had people say on my channel, look, I didn't even believe in targeting individuals, but now that I see that these interviews aren't scripted and you can't just make this stuff up, they're starting to believe. So the word's getting out. So
Yeah.
could you start off by telling your life, like what was your life before targeting and what it's like now?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So, mine started about, it's not quite 14 years yet, but I was married. I was happily married. My husband, we owned a heating and cooling company. We were very comfortable, money wise. We were happy. Um, and then we had a cop move in across the street. So, we had some arguments with the cop neighbor, and I'm assuming who blacklisted me. He called the cops on us several times when we had friends come and go. So right around that time is when all the gangs started. And now the direct energy weapons didn't start at first. Mine started with actual stalking. And I actually woke up to my door. So someone took the door off the hinges to get to me. My ex-husband wasn't there at the time. And I woke up and my door was off the hinges. And
Wow.
in my head, I'm just like, well, maybe that was my husband, it just didn't make sense to me because the door was locked. The only way they could have got in was through a window. But they do that, you
So
know.
this is a house they took the hinges off the door?
It took the hinges off
Wow.
the door. In the first place, I started feeling direct energy was in my neck, which I actually have two X-rays that show the implant. There's more than one in my neck. Um,
Have
so
you ever got your thyroid checked?
it's terrible. It's
Yeah,
absolutely
mine is
terrible.
too, and a lot of TIs are because your thyroid absorbs radiation.
Yeah, I have a huge nodule on it. My numbers are jumping up and down. They're trying to diagnose me with Hashimoto's. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but anyways, that's your thyroid, and what's happening to us with all the direct energy coming through here.
Yeah.
It's trying to fight, my own body. So I'm so swollen. I bet you I'm about 40 pounds just in water weight from being swollen, from getting.
I would check your thyroid out. Holly had hers removed. She had cancer, and the doctor said, "Look, I don't see how you was exposed to all this radiation."
Oh,
That's what the
they
doctor
said
told her
that.
about her yeah, but
Oh
she
my
couldn't say
goodness.
direct energy weapons because she didn't want to go the nut house. But but the doctor did say, well, where was you exposed to a lot of radiation at?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I'm going to tell you this much. I don't hold back for anybody. I
yeah.
have I have pictures, and don't get me wrong, I have my arguments, but I've kind of thought a little smarter. Right now, I'm a patient of Dr. Lydia Sajenko. She is a doctor that diagnoses Havana syndrome. I sought her out because, David, I was getting so sick of going to doctors and them just discrediting us, especially when I have videos. I have videos of my assaults. I have police reports when my car got stolen. I have a scarring on my face. Let's see, my x-rays. I have implants. You can actually see some of them. I don't know if I could show them in this light, but they're actually, I don't know if it's like a nano, some type of nano implant, but I got it in my wrist. Anybody can see it. It looks odd. It's off. I got something right where my crease in my elbow is. I mean, so I don't hold back for anybody. I show them my videos. I stand my ground. But yeah, this program is absolutely terrible. And David, I get hit really hard. I don't know how they do it, how they rate us. I guess some of us will pose a threat later on in life, and I guess they foresaw it, which they're not wrong. I will be. So I deal with extreme heavy assaults, and mine are Army and Navy vets. I've already took one of mine to court where the judge said that my videos weren't enough evidence and that I needed to have medical proof. So I am taking them back to court. My diagnosis has to be written down so I could take it in, and I might even use my doctor as
Are you
uh,
going to that doctor who oh, I forgot his name, but the one
I
who
would've
diagnoses people with Havana syndrome and stuff.
Yeah, I went to she's a female and she's in New Jersey. Her name is Dr. Lydia Sajenko. And she is the last part of all of my testing is to get the MRI because believe it or not, something in my neck really concerned her. We think we found a big implant's what we think because she took this like metal probe thing and she went around my body and it had like a little meter scale and it like jumped off the roof. So she kept looking at it over and over and over again. And then, so we got an MRI coming. They're going to
So
be
she's
looking
in
at,
New Jersey and she diagnoses people with Havana syndrome.
yeah. And I want to tell this to any TI out there. If doctors aren't giving you the type of respect that you deserve with this because we are victims, then seek out doctors that will. David, I told her all about my targeting. I told her all about the gang stalking, and she said this is exactly what she said. Yes, I hear this from all my patients. Yes,
Wow.
yes. I mean, it was such a relief to be with somebody that knew that this was happening.
Yeah, because most doctors will do what you call 1013 and commit you talking about that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
They
I
done
really
it to
never
Holly
know.
one time.
The first time.
What did they say? They said and then
Why am I being 1013? Who did it? And they said the military did.
yeah, she asked why she was being sent to the mental hospital. They said the military did it.
Are you
I don't know if they were messing with her or the military really did call in or what, but yeah,
Oh my
she tried to
God.
report her stuff and say she wanted to be tested for poisons and stuff, and they took her to the mental hospital.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, my experience with Dr. Sajenko was very pleasant. She checked so many things. Um,
Does
she had
she do scans too
oh yeah,
for
she had
chips?
she had
How much does she charge? Is she expensive?
okay, so I kind of outsmarted okay, so it's about $3,000, but if you seek out a private PPO and pay monthly, like that's what I can afford to pay, go find you a PPO that's covered by her that's in network with whatever state you're in, and then you only have to make payments. I pay about $100 a month, and then I pay the $290 for my private PPO, but I mean, that's the only way I could do it. I didn't have $3,000 sitting around. A lot of us don't, our money. As soon as I get up on money, my tire goes flat or something happens,
Right. Yeah, they try to keep you broke.
Yeah.
So back to the story. So you came home and the door was off the hinge?
Yeah. It was off the
Completely
hinges.
off the hinge.
Yeah. And
Wow.
I felt like I'd been violated too. And I feel most certain I have. I did not know what all they could do. I didn't understand how crazy this was. But yeah, I'm electronic rape victim too, and stimulation, mainly stimulation. And I get that done to me 24 hours a day, along with images through either the nano gel or nano implants in my eyes. So yeah.
Yeah, because see, what you said about I got an email. I'm not going to explain the story. I got an email years ago from this dude. He said, "David, I know cops. I know law enforcement. I know a lot of high up people, and I'm going to make your life miserable." So anyway, so I guess cops are involved and can put you on this list if you make them mad.
Yeah, well, that's
Uh,
exactly what happened to me. That's my
so
story.
do you so before this, did you have a regular job? Was you just a normal individual?
Yeah, well, my husband, I was his secretary. We owned a heating and cooling company, and I had just had kids, and I
So
worked.
your life was pretty
It
normal
was
then.
very good. It
So
was.
now, could you describe your life now?
It's a nightmare, David. It couldn't be worse. There's no way. I at nighttime, my whole body vibrates. Like literally, if anyone were to touch me, you could feel me vibrating.
Wow.
I get hit with high amounts of radiation. Um, right now I'm in the process of trying to move, but I'll tell you this much, David, I've been staying with friends, and I'll be damned if they don't follow me to my friend's house. And now it might not be what I'm going through here, but they'll throw a drone up in the air and hit me at my friend's house. And it'll take
Yeah.
sometimes not even a full day for them to get over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they follow when Holly. I don't leave the house. I haven't left the house in 2 years. But when Holly leaves the house, we have like 3 drones that sit above our house. When Holly leaves the house every morning, the drones follow her to work and back, hitting her
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah, well, I haven't caught mine doing that, but they also cloak the drones. I've caught them cloaking the drones. I do have videos of the drones on my property. Honey, there's nothing I don't have. I am on these guys. I tell them every day I'm going to get them arrested, and I will eventually. Like I'm telling you, it's just a matter of time. And I have children in this house, and not only are my children in it, but I'm like the neighborhood mom to other kids. So that's the mentality of these men. You know, they're shooting nuclear radiation at a house with children in it. So yeah, it's awful. I mean, my attacks are so bad they damn near kill me sometimes. It's insane what I'm going through, and an absolute nightmare.
Did
It
you
could
go
be,
through smear campaigns and isolation when you
yeah,
started?
yeah.
Did you explain a little of that?
Yeah, sure. So, um, I didn't really understand what was going on for the longest time. Now, I don't think that the people involved, I know that they're told lies, David, because um, now I am a recovering addict. And the last time they did a smear campaign was about a year ago. And I was on my 3rd year, like totally sober. And when what they did is they came in the restaurant, they like sent people in, and they wouldn't speak to me in person, but they would be in conversation while I'm over there trying to take their order. And they'd be like, "Oh, I just love to get drunk. I like to fall on the ground and like talk about putting metal." I was like, I didn't know what to say back because one, if I tried to say something back, they were going to make me look crazy. That's what they do. These are very hateful, evil people. And two, it was a total lie. I that was not even accurate to anything I've ever done. I've never drank like that, anyways, like never in my life. But it's
What you
just a
call,
lie.
I think it's called direct conversations, what they call it. It's where you'll be around and 2 people will come in talking about you where you can hear it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they were doing. And I was just so hurt. I was so upset, and I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, man, I feel a little bit like Jesus right now because they're condemning me and I don't deserve it at all. Like I was going on my 3rd year sober. And even when I wasn't, I was a functioning, drug addict at the time, which by the way, they did that too. Like, as soon as they entered my life, when you don't know that you're being mind controlled, you can't really protect yourself. So my life went to being great to just being as bad as it possibly could be and as quick as possible. I've been to the cops many times. I've been anywhere and everywhere in town to try to get help. I am gonna, as soon as I get my diagnosis, the cops will have to look into it. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm gonna have to get a detective. I just honestly,
So what do the cops say when you go to them? They say you're crazy or they just
oh,
kind of blow
yeah.
you off?
Well, see, the cop that lived across the street from me, he's a city cop, and they're involved in this. Like city cops here are highly involved in it. So they would talk to me like trash. They'd be like, take your medication. So I started recording them. And like I said, that's something else I'm going to do as soon as I get the medical proof, because lawyers want that too, just so you know. And oh, this is something I want to mention. When I spoke to lawyers in this town, it's happening so bad that the lawyers are catching on to it. Yeah, lawyers know this.
Oh,
They know that happens. They don't know a lot about the direct energy weapons, but the gang stalking, absolutely. Not all of them, but everybody's catching on. So, but
did you
yeah,
experience V2K also?
oh my God, 24/7, 24/7.
Could you kind of explain what that's like?
Yeah, I usually don't talk too much about my V2K, but I am going to right now, only because that's the first thing they can discredit you with. So if ever I go to the doctor, I do not mention that. Now I did mention it to Dr. Sajenko, and but that's because I was in a safe place. My V2K is very aggressive. It's very, very highly abusive. It tries to pretend to be the devil. So basically, they are persecuting me. They have placed me in hell,
So
supposedly.
it says shameful things to you. Like mine
Oh my
earlier was
God.
telling me, well, if you don't clean the house right now, we're gonna feed you to the sharks, cut you up. My stuff says stuff like that to me, like very violent stuff.
Right. Why they make you not want to clean the house at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, mine's very it's the voice of God. I've actually recorded it a couple times. I need to get it clear, but yeah,
Yeah.
I deal with it 24/7. They do that simultaneously with imaging in my eye. I have videos. I guess it's either nano gel or nano it's nano. I know that I have pictures of the it looks like a lens though, honestly, in my eye. They do incest involving my father, and they do that 24 hours a day while stimulating my privates. Yeah, I deal with that all day long at work. It's her. I can't tell you how horrible they've made my life. It's miserable.
And
So
you think this all involved in making a cop mad?
yeah, that's when it all
Because
started.
I've heard a lot of people say that. I've heard that people if you piss off the right person, they can put you in this program. I've also heard if you file lawsuits against the right people, they put you in the program. It can be testing, just all kinds of different reasons people are put in there. And of course, they hit everybody differently. No two persons, because if everybody went to the hospital or everybody went to the police mentioning the same thing was happening to them, that's
Yeah.
why they use a variety of stuff on us, is because everybody's got different stories saying different stuff's happening. Because if
Right.
you had a million people saying the exact same thing was happening to them, they might listen to them.
Right.
That's what I think. Plus, it
Yeah.
keeps us divided because I'm not experiencing what you're experiencing. Holly's not experiencing what I'm experiencing. So it's kind
Yeah.
of all different and makes us question each other at certain times.
Yeah. Well,
Have you ever experienced a honeypot or somebody trying to come in your life to find out what's going on, be your handler, or
yeah,
control your
yeah.
targeting from behind the scenes?
Yeah, I actually had one of the guys involved. He actually was such a low life that he got a job at my work just to keep tabs on me and see who I was, which I'm a really nice person. But like I said, I'm kind of glad they did do it, David, because they lie so much that me telling him who I am and what I do, he questioned like, well, she's not an alcoholic, she's not on drug, you know what I mean? So I knew what I had to do. I couldn't show myself, but I wanted him to know who I was. And, even though I knew he was a part of this, I smiled and I treated him good because
So did he try to build a relationship with you?
um he spoke with me all the time, but you could tell he's the type of person that's just a vengeful guy. But like I feel like he questioned things for sure.
So his motives were not pure then.
Well, I had went to court to get a custodial guardianship lifted from my kids that had been placed a long time ago just because I wanted it off. And I had to take drug testing for 3 years. I had paperwork and I made sure to show them. I did, I knew what was going on and I used it to my advantage. Yeah.
Well, I
So yeah,
hope they get this. I
absolutely.
hope this doctor gets you the proof you need to pursue this stuff, to like expose it. Um, what's your gang stalking like on street theater? Could you give some examples of that? Explain, is your gang stalking bad, severe, or is it mainly just weapons now?
Honestly, I think something must have went wrong because my gang stalking was a lot of like citizens on patrol, people, the sheriff's department and their family. It used to be them. Now they're out of the scene. I think I'm sure there's a reason for that. Now it's just the low lifes doing it. I
I
never
mean, no, what I mean, like if I was to leave the house right now, I'm sure I would have like the paparazzi following me. You know what I'm
no,
saying? Do you get heavy stalk like that?
no,
Severe
no,
swarms?
no,
Okay.
not really. I think they're afraid of what I'll say, honestly, and I really do think that because I don't get that. They keep what happened, David, and I'll
But you
try to
did it
tell
first, right?
what happened is one of the people that came in to gang stalk me, I actually knew their son. their son came in and he's a lawyer, and I'm thinking he looked into what they said and kind of proved like, hey, this girl isn't what they're saying. And ever since that day, and I, the guy that came in that I knew joined them, I've never been stalked by any of them ever again. So I don't know what happened, but no, I don't deal with that ever. But I do have heavy attacks. I get hit at work. I get hit at my house. I get hit at my friend's house. Um, and it's David, I get hit really hard. I know you do too. And I know Holly gets burned. I get burned too. Like it's very scary. I'm scared. I don't know. No protection works good enough. Have you found something that works good? Because
Well, I use well, I can tell you since I started using these smart drops and these mushrooms supplement extracts, it's cut my vibrations and my shocks down. Now my V2K's intensified a lot in the last few months, like very,
right.
very heavy. But like, cause when I close my eyes, I start getting shocked, vibrated, and my head gets heated up. But ever since I started doing this stuff called aprotropic smart drops, lion's mane mushroom, turkey tail mushroom. Now I buy the sublingual stuff and it's a liquid, it goes under your tongue.
Yeah.
It's really cut the vibrations and stuff down in half. Now I don't think it's helped Holly none, has it? Your attacks.
Yeah.
It hasn't helped Holly, but Holly gets different. I get internal burns with no where they don't leave proof,
Right.
like my shock. She gets physical burns, like we got pictures and all that, like
Yeah, I saw
big
Holly. That's
burns.
awful.
Sometimes she's had her whole neck
I
burnt.
saw that one. I
Yeah.
saw that one. They used something on my legs, I guess where the implants are in my lower inside of both my legs. They left two big burns. I wish I could show videos. But anyways, you could tell that it was like the way that the shapes were like so perfect, and they were both on each leg. So when I took it to a nurse who I didn't feel comfortable talking to about my situation, she's like, why do you have a chemical burn on your leg? Why does it look like that? That's very odd, Courtney. Those match. And I didn't feel comfortable enough to tell her because I see her for something else, and I just, but she
Yeah.
was like, what is that? Why do you have chemical burns that look like that on your legs?
Do you have any idea how they got the implants in you? Like me, I'm convinced, like on me, I really think they don't need implants, but I really think I got them. Like I was in the hospital out of it in coma for 5 days one time, 2 days another time. So they had plenty of motive and opportunity. Now Holly, they took her from her house. They put a rag over her face, put her out, and 3 days later she woke up with her work dress on and in her bed and didn't know how she got there. And ever since then, she's been having problems with a big knot right here in her inside of her nose. Where they else at? Right here.
My eyes, my hands, my nose,
Yeah.
my feet.
Nose,
But she
yeah.
actually felt them put the rag over her face, and she knows she was knocked out. And then she woke up 3 days later with her work dress on.
Oh my,
So I'm just wondering if you know how they got your implant. Well, you think it was at a hospital, probably?
No, I think it was from the pieces of shit crap that were doing it. No, I mean, I have woken up. Let me tell you something. I've had about 30 items of clothing cut or ripped. Some items they ripped. They
Yeah.
left a cat collar in the middle of my floor with infrared light on it to let me know that they got to me. I've woken up to my clothes. Looks like they re-put my clothes on me.
So did you say a cat collar?
Yeah, cat.
So they mess with
calling
your
me a
animals
cat.
too?
No, they refer to us as cats, or at least they do here. Because like I stay in contact with some other TIs. Unfortunately, the mind games, they don't really.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Lynette talked about it all the time. Sex kitten, whatever you call it.
I don't know. They had a
MK
cat
Ultra,
collar.
that's what you're talking about?
Honestly, I think they just consider themselves. Oh, okay. So the last time I got stalked, I had a group of them come in. I was bartending late night, and they brought a dog bowl up to the bar, and we're like, could you fill up my bowl? They were trying to get me to know that was them, because I know, and my B2K knows that they can call themselves dogs. So immediately I caught on to it. And these guys, they looked like the men that were actually a part of the stalking that drive around. But once again, they were like, have you done anything bad lately? And I'm just like, buddy, I got a full bar. Like I'm sitting here trying to make money. You look like a dork. And I had a bunch of friends there too. So I don't think they didn't get too aggressive with me, but they were hitting me.
Do you
Really
ever
hard.
have they ever done anything to your pets?
Well, no, not really. One ended up dead. I don't know if it was them or not. But you know that they mind control the animals too. I've seen it happen. And I fully believe, David, that everybody's a mind control victim. It's just what I believe. My targeting and the way that they target me, unless they're very good at it, shows me that everybody is under some sort of mind control. I'm not saying that everybody has a nano implant, but I think it's quite possible because I do know this, David. They have nanobots that come through there. I've recorded them. I have
Oh,
thousands.
you're talking about smart dust and stuff?
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
can actually they use those to get into our veins. They usually go around our wrist or around our feet. They don't need to touch us.
Mm-mm.
Not only that, Amy, do you know who Amy is who does
Amy Holem?
okay, well, I
Yeah.
paid her to hack the scalar waves that were in the room. We picked up on the two-way radio that they have, I guess, connected to me. And so I got to hear what these dirtbags were saying. They called themselves Murder Tech. They spoke of NASA. They spoke to Neuralink. I found out some neighbors that were involved that really kind of upset me, but it is
Yeah,
what it is.
Amy's doing a lot for the community now.
Yeah, and then also I was not the only one connected to this two-way radio. I heard them order attacks on a girl named Kayla. I heard them implanting someone. I heard them talking about me, saying to avoid my throat. They kept talking about my throat, which is really scary, all things considered, especially because
And Amy heard this too, right?
yeah, yeah. We got a timestamp for whenever I do prove this. I have a timestamp of when they drove through Burger King. So hopefully I can use that down the road. We'll see.
Wow, I got to save up my money so I can get some proof like that. I mean, we
Yeah,
got pictures of drones, we got pictures of lasers and stalkers outside the house since I don't leave the house. And Holly's got pictures of drones on the way to work.
yeah,
We got pictures of drones in the yard flying around. We got pictures of stalkers, but uh, we need to get scanned too, like you know what I'm saying, and get tested
yeah.
for Havana syndrome and all that also.
Well, David, I will say this. I do kind of wish the one thing that I asked her to do that she rejected to do. I don't know if it's because I had been there 5 hours. We were just trying to work around my insurance plan. And I asked her to test my blood for radiation, and she said no. And it kind of threw me off a little bit. Like,
Was that the Lydia Sajinko?
yeah. Other than that, she was, she took a lot of tests. We talked about implants. We talked like it was such a safe environment. Literally, I I I can't tell you how good it felt for me to talk to somebody that listened
Now,
to me.
do you know any other TIs who've been to this woman?
I'm the only one. I know a lot of people try to go and stuff happens. Plus, they cut the phone calls direct to the office to where they have to call us back. So, it's really hard for people to get out there. But like I said, I'll know more once I get my diagnosis. I heard about it through one lady on one of the phone calls, and she got her diagnosis. But they do like a brain mapping scan. They do this thing where they put air in your ear. I don't know what that's about. They put like all these probes on your head. They do a short-term and a long-term EEG. Like it's very efficient. Yeah. Like
Now, are you going to use this evidence in the CSI lawsuit? Or are you doing your own suit?
well, I'm gonna do, yeah. I've been trying to reach out to Ryan for a long time.
Yeah, I can't get a hold of him either.
Because that's my next move is I want to go pay to see him. And, I can't get a hold of him, but maybe soon I will. I do talk to Maria. Maybe, eventually I'll be able to talk to him. But yeah, I do believe Ron's done a wonderful thing. The Hummit program or however you say it, I know that's what I'm in, David. I feel like that's what you're in, Holly. I think the same thing because of how we get hit with weapons that are here, not up like of course this is a satellite based program, but like a lot of the weapons we get hit with are either placed, strategically placed around the city or at neighbors' houses.
Right. And if you got a smart meter, they can use electricity in your house. They can use this lamp behind me to target
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
They can use a TV to hit you if they want with the
Yeah.
smart meters.
Yeah.
Uh,
they do it.
I'm trying to think. How do you? Oh, see, Holly's able to work too.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of effort and and I admire her strength. So how do you cope and work and stuff? Do you got any advice to any TIs who's trying to work and make it and be targeted at the same time?
Yeah, well, um, the group that I work with right now, I've actually kind of, now I don't talk a lot about the weapons, but they all know that I'm targeted. They all know that I'm part of a lawsuit. And as soon as I get my diagnosis, I'm going to pull the boss to the side and say, hey, this is what's been happening. If it ever happens here, I want to feel like I can come to you or the bouncer. Cause like we got big bouncers in there. They're not going to put up with these guys. Although the guys that came in were huge themselves. They looked like steroided, you know. But honestly, you just try the best you can. It's
Do you
scary.
get gaslit at work ever?
No, not so much. I mean, they do, see what they do is once you work somewhere, they put everybody under remote neural monitoring, that's, that you have contact with pretty much. So they definitely put everyone at your work under it, and they'll like try to get them aggravated with me a lot. And, it is what it is. I do the best I can. It's very hard. But I will say this, anytime I try to fight them, they embarrass me at work. They mess with me so hard I can't understand what I'm doing, and I'll mess up a bunch. Like when I tried to take them to court, they did that. They made me fall carrying a big tray. I mean, it's so embarrassing.
Do you ever, is your phones hacked?
Oh
Like
yeah,
Holly's the other day, like I called her on, I was messing around. She was here already and I called her on FaceTime, and I called her number on FaceTime and some foreign dude answered her FaceTime, her
I've heard
phone number.
someone else
And I
say
said,
that too.
dude, this is my girlfriend. I said, what are you doing answering my girlfriend's FaceTime? I said, are you the one that's in her phone? Because they changed her icons around. They
Yeah.
took her camera and her calculator all the way off. They text people at her work. Like while she's working, they text her managers from her phone, which her managers and stuff know her phone's hacked now. So they ignore it. They don't pay it no attention no more. But that could have got her in trouble if her managers hadn't have known. But they gave themselves away early on. But yeah, this dude answered her FaceTime. When I said, dude, I said, I just called such and such number. I said, that's my girlfriend's number. She's right here. I said, what are you doing answering her FaceTime? He said,
Yeah.
don't call this number no more. I said, no, this is her number.
Yeah.
And then he ended up hanging up, and we called back 2 or 3 times. He wouldn't answer. So we think we caught the person in her phone, and he
Well,
accidentally answered. It was wicked.
well, I wonder if you could trace that. I don't.
I don't
I don't know
know.
much about electronics. They've had
Because
my bank
every phone
account.
she gets, when she gets a new phone, they'll just be right back in it.
They do that to mine too. They've took my pictures and put them on the internet. They've done so many things. But I do want to say this. Whenever I first got targeted years and years and years ago, now I knew that I was like connected, how I could say it. Because if you deal with voice to skull, remote neural monitoring,
You can feel the frequency change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but my attacks would come, they'd be really intense and really strong, and then they would subside after a couple weeks. And they kept doing that for year after year after year. And now it's just one huge, long, aggressive, evil, abusive attack. And we'll be on 4 years straight without me having a break in October.
So back to, so you were, I just try to let the audience get an idea what's going on. So when you were with your husband and y'all were at this air conditioner business, did he turn against you and everybody else turned against you?
Well, I knew that he was a victim, but they did play us against each other big time.
And did your family turn against you? Do they believe you or?
My cousin, because she flew out there with me, she believes me because she actually went with me to the doctor's appointment where the doctor was like, yes, this is happening, and my mom is starting to think that, yeah, this is a thing. She has no idea how serious it is. She refuses to watch my videos until I get my diagnosis, but my family did say that if I get my diagnosis that they're going to help. So we'll see.
Wow.
You know, I love my family, you know, and they would never do anything to hurt me. But no, my dad, he'll never believe it, you
Did
know.
did you have any friends turn on you when you started talking about it and start acting like, well, you're crazy and shy away
Yeah,
from you?
yeah, definitely. You know, and the one girl that did, she was actually a victim herself. She had even been gang stalked. They broke into her house, but she was convinced that her ex-boyfriend did it. And I knew what had really happened, but it wasn't worth me proving it. So, but yeah, I've lost several friends for sure, you know. I will say this, David, I tell everybody what's going on with me. I don't tell them about my voice to skull. I did not tell them about the mind control, but you know, everybody who knows me, you know, my Facebook page is my page. I don't have a private page that's, you know, so I really want this to get out there, and I am risking, like, I feel like they've already ruined my reputation. So, you know, which they do, you know, so
Yeah,
I,
they love doing that.
you
Well,
know,
hopefully that doctor gets you that diagnosis that you need to prove yourself, because that'd be a big plus for the community in a whole, and for you showing your family it's real. My dad won't even, he's like, I'm like, watch this video with me, Dad. No, don't even get around me. If you start playing it, I'm leaving the room. I mean, my dad don't want to hear none of it.
yeah,
Um,
they mind control him. You know that though. You
yeah,
know,
my mom, all of them.
yeah, yeah, they're under mind control too. It's so, you know, that's the one thing that people need to realize is the mind control is what's allowing this program to exist, nothing more. It is the mind control that is being used on the population, and it has been used on the population, and targeted justice, they're not wrong. This is going to be the hardest obstacle for us to overcome because of that. You know, I when I went to court, I was pretty certain that I was going to get, you know, my protective order, because I mean, I have videos of his weapon firing off. I literally have it firing off, coming out of it, and hit my property. But that wasn't enough. You know, it's just I don't think they're allowed to think normally, or you know, they were already called and it was like a trap. I don't know, one or the other.
So how did you find out what a targeted individual was and what was going on as far as
Well,
targeting?
uh, it took me, it's really kind of embarrassing. From where my attacks weren't consistent and they would quit and I could live a somewhat normal life, it took me probably 6 to 7 years.
And
And
what'd you do? Was you reading it on the internet one
yeah,
day?
I started looking up stuff, and you know, it came up, and finally I got an idea of what was happening. And you know, it's been a nightmare. I pray this ends for all of us, because this is miserable, and you know, they are making us sick, you know. That's what they're doing. They are hitting us with radiation to take us out. This is a disgusting thing that's happening, and this is a genocide. This is ridiculous. You know, and
Yeah,
every
Ronnie
day,
killed, I don't know if you know who she was. She was a doctor that got killed by direct energy weapons, but she was talking about it's a big, massive depopulation program. But I really think there's something to these supplements, and certain kinds of supplements that can keep your body healthy and uh keep the stuff away so you can be healthy enough to live life. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But the dude yesterday I interviewed, he said this doctor told him to take something called EDTA, and that if you took it for several months, it would rid you of all the. And this came from some doctor from Targeted Justice named Anna, not Anna Toledo, but
yeah,
Anna something. Um, I really don't. I had bad run-ins with Targeted Justice, so I really don't mess with them.
yeah,
But the doctor said that, so the dude's trying it. So if it works out for him, I will let everybody know, hey, this remedy did work.
right.
It's called
Uh,
EDTA, and it's supposed to rid your body of nano and kill all the stuff in you. He takes that with vitamin
oh,
C, and the
well,
vitamin C is supposed to keep it from replicating. So he's trying it out. So once he gets back with me and tells me, if he tells me it all stopped, then I will tell everybody. But until then, I've seen people try everything. But the supplements, B12, magnesium, vitamin D, You know, it's crazy because me and Holly have spent so much money. Like every time we get some money, it goes on supplements just to try to feel like we got energy, feel like we got any, you know what I'm saying? But the supplements are working. So what Robert Duncan says is these weapons drain you of the magnesium, the vitamin D, the B12. You know, 2 years ago, when I was in the hospital, they said I had the worst B12 deficiency they ever seen. So if you still get hit, but if you use these supplements, it keeps your body in good enough shape to keep going and have a little bit of energy, is what I'm finding. And then you
Robert,
got Jervon. I haven't tried none of Jervon's remedies yet, but Jervon, I know you know who he is.
I do. Yeah,
He's saying
I
his
like.
remedies are working too.
Oh,
Um, I haven't
okay.
really found out too much about him yet, but I've been told that to talk to him about him, and I got him on my list to interview, but I've got like 9 people to interview, so he's way down there. But so because I'm thinking there's got to be an answer for everything.
There has
Got to
to
be a
be.
remedy. But as far as shielding, we got Mylar up on the windows right now. Duncan says the Mylar will help as far as physical burns. But you know, Holly still gets burnt laying down, and there's Mylar on the windows. I don't know if you're supposed to be wrapped up in it or not. I have used Mylar when I was getting vibrated. Because I took like 4 layers. I got 4 layers of Mylar, taped them together. So I have wrapped up with Mylar, and my symptoms lessened. But another thing they'll do is you'll buy something for shielding, like a lead apron or something, and they'll stop hitting you for 2 weeks. So then you go out and tell all your friends, "Hey, I hadn't been hit with 2 weeks since I bought this shielding." Then
Yeah.
they'll go out and buy it, and then the whole time they had just stopped hitting you to trick you. That's
Yeah.
what Duncan calls a nano trick. So they trick you into telling everybody it works. Then
Right.
everybody's mad at you because they're like, "Look, you just
Oh,
fed
it
me with
didn't
false.
work.
I went and spent my money." So
Yeah.
yes, they're up to all kinds of games. So I got one more question for you, and we'll end the interview, and that is, do you think this will ever end? And if so, how?
Okay, honestly, like I have to have faith that it's going to end because they've stolen my whole life. Like when you just said like, they would quit hitting you for a couple days to play a trick on you. Like I'm hit terribly hard every day. It's very abusive. It has to end or I won't like I can't live much longer like this. It's that miserable and it's that terrible. Um I you know I do think targeted justice is fighting them. I know that some people, have their bones to pick with them, but like it's important. We are all there for the same reason. And what they're trying to do could essentially save every single one of us. So I pray for them. I hope they do well. I want everybody that's fighting us to do good. And, they do
Right.
like to see us kind of be torn apart. So for me, I just, I'm hoping, I know it's going to be a lawsuit. I think Robert Duncan's right. I do think it's going to come out by 2025 because I mean, you already have the Homeland Security saying, "Hey, this is happening. These attacks are happening," which
But
is
they're
you.
blaming it on Russia.
Are they?
Yeah. If you listen to the whole meeting, they focus on China and Russia and say it's coming from them.
Well, it's BS. It's BS.
Yeah.
But mhm.
And I hope, way stuff's going in the world, it's not looking like I hate to be a doomsday or whatever, but it's looking ugly for 2025. But yeah, Robert Duncan, he did say it was going to be revealed in 2025. So with
Yeah.
everything going on in the world, it wouldn't surprise me if it is revealed in 2025 because they won't even care.
Yeah.
Because it looks like we're going towards World War III and all kinds of stuff. If you watch follow the real news, like on YouTube, there's people like Off Grid Desert Farming with Paul and Adrian, um, Canadian Prepper. These people are putting out some news that's not being told to the mainstream media, and it's crazy because it's being hidden on mainstream media. I mean, Putin's done got together with North Korea and China, and they're all talking about America using their weapons in Ukraine on them, and he's done warned about nuclear war. They've spotted nuclear submarines off the coast of Florida, Russian nuclear submarines. So man, I'm just hoping that all that stuff gets calmed down.
Yeah.
Because on top of that, we're being targeted too. So, if something hits and takes the grid out, I just wonder if our targeting will stop. you
Yeah.
know, an EMP takes the power grid out.
Would be nice.
Yeah. Well, that'd be amazing. That's awesome.
But I'm like you, if targeted justice really has the good motives, I really do hope they succeed. Anybody that's trying to fight this, I hope they succeed. I really thank you for coming out for the interview. Do you have anything else you want to say before I end it?
No, that's it, David. Thanks for having me. Thank you, David. Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
No problem. And I'm gonna stop the recording. I'll send you the link when I'm done,
Okay.
and I'm gonna put it on YouTube and Facebook and all that if that's okay.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, text me that supplement you were talking about. Okay.
The EDTA.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
I don't know how to